Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our special guest, Steph Shinabery. And today we're going to be talking about how your unique brand vibe promises a competitive edge. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Steph. She is the world's best possibility coach, a nurse anesthesiologist, artist, speaker, and the founder of Genius Code Academy. After spending much of her life in a career that lacked the inspiration and fulfillment she knew was available to her, Steph began a journey to answer the question, what is it I truly desire? Her journey led to the creation of the Genius Identity Code, a process for unlocking your gift, purpose, and path, and helping people see, believe, and execute their unique genius to achieve miraculous outcomes. Steph works with creative experts, entrepreneurs, and coaches to help them embrace their authenticity and create their unique brand vibe to cut through the noise to stand out online. You can find her talk Wake Up Your Genius Machine on Amazon Prime's videos Speak Up, Empower Your Ideas Season 4. That's amazing. And Steph, I am so glad to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you again for sharing your space with me.
Well, we are thrilled to have you here. And for anyone else who's joining us for that very first time, make sure you don't miss a single episode by subscribing to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your episodes. And while you're there, if you love what we're doing, please give us that 5-star review. We would very much appreciate it. All right. Well, Steph, let's really get into what inspired you to get down and get started on this path. Get down, get started on this path.
Yeah, I love it. So this is such a I feel like there's like two or three big shifts in my life, and I've been in the medical field for 30 plus years, so I'm not a spring chicken. I've had I don't think it's ever just really one thing, but I was an art and a biology major and kind of listened to my mom of like, well, you're not going to make any money at art because that's really what I wanted to do. And, you know, not having the confidence and all of that. So I went my fourth year of college. I'm like, I'm just going to go to nursing school because I had friends doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll just do this together. And I knew nursing had this flexibility because my mom was a nurse of like, you can pretty much work wherever. And I'm like, oh, this will be perfect. I'll work as a nurse and then I will go finish my art degree. But then life happened, and you can really the whole story is on the Amazon Prime thing, and I won't bore everybody with the details here or whatever. But I just I wasn't happy doing, you know, as a nurse. I just wasn't happy doing that, and was trying to think of all these things I could do, and all I could really think about was doing art. I would try to do it on the side, but it's so frustrating to work full time and try to have this creative space. And so, at some point in my life, kind of 8 or 10 years into my profession, I'm like, I'm going to work part time as a nurse, which is so cool that one of the things you can do in nursing is have a lot of flexibility. So I worked weekend. It was called weekend option as a nurse, and Monday through Friday I was in an art studio at the University of Arkansas in Little Rock making art, and it was literally the best time of my life. It was like I still go back to that. I was so excited every day to get out of bed and get into the art studio, and I would be there first thing and I would shut it down. They would run me out of there at midnight. But I couldn't figure out how to make that jump from nursing to art financially. And so uh, I just, decided to go into something that I also had been very interested in, and would really double or triple my salary. And it was anesthesia. So I went to graduate school, and I really do love this. But about a few years ago, I was like, okay, something is still missing.
Yeah.
Like when you're getting out of bed and going, I mean, I'm so grateful that I have a job that I really do. Like there was the dread of getting out of bed for so many years as a nurse to like, okay, I'm going to do this but I'm not, but it's not the same as like when I'm working on a project that I love, where it's something like the Genius Identity Code, or working with a client, or working on an art project. It's like sometimes the alarm doesn't even have to go off. You're just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work on this, to solve this problem. And so that's kind of like my baseline of like where we all should be. Are you excited to get out of bed in the morning? But so I think the real turning point was a few years ago. It's like I've done all the things and I'm like still not fulfilled. And one of my favorite quotes is Steve Oshler is like, until you become who you were born to be, your soul will make it clear that you have yet to reach your full potential. So there's that inner gnawing knowing that you've got some more work to do. I really do believe that we all have a dharma, a purpose, that we all have something that will really light us up once we plug into that. And once we figure that out, you're unstoppable and you make the decision to go after it.
All right. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, I'm really fascinated to learn how you do this and about the process and, sharing some more information about the Genius Identity Code.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually how it kind of was, you know, it, I think it's been a year or so ago, I was burned out. Like, so I think when you decide to make, I'm gonna be an online coach, I'm gonna do all these things. I started out in affiliate marketing, network marketing. Long story, learned marketing. I'm like, this marketing is really cool. It's really kind of creative. It kind of fits my personality. And I started like, this is how you do it. To spent thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaches to tell me how to do it, and I was following their process. And pretty much that's what a lot of people do. And so there's a lot of the same stuff out there. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, this is fun, helping people to make money, to help people to get clients. I love the coaching aspect of really the mindset blocks and getting through that. But I'm still at the point of like, okay, this is becoming another, feels like a job. And I just said, I'm going to step back and figure out what it is that I really want to do. And I started journaling and writing, and, like asking these questions of like, if you could do anything you want to do, if you could, what is it that gets you out, excited to get out of bed, all of those questions. And just a lot of journaling, and came up with this process I loved to do as a kid. So going back to when I was really young and looking at my values of how they've evolved and the things that I love to do, I came up with this process. And one of the things, so I'm just going to break down like 3 things you can do to start learning this right now. So the
Okay.
first thing is, it's really goes back. Everybody has a genius. I think we all have a place to plug into the universe. It's going to change the world. And so we often can't see it. We can't identify it. And it's really important to see that and to name it and to claim it. And then, you kind of take off from there. So the first thing is, just going back through your history, your story, and often like, asking yourself what you love to do as a child and what, kept drawing you into that. And, you know, asking, I get my clients to send out like 5 emails to friends, family, coworkers that really know them well, and say, please share with me 3 to 5 things that how I've either touched your life, how I've changed your life, or what you see as something, interesting, fascinating, or as my gift. And it's so cool to get on a call with these clients, and half the time they're in tears. They're like, are they been in, they're like, I was so moved by what my friends gave me back. I had no idea that I'd had this impact on them. And then we use that language in part of like naming their genius. Um, the second thing is really going back through, something that was your story. It's some in your life where you overcame something,
Right.
and it's something you can share with somebody, and it's something that's meaningful for you. It's something you want to share with others. I think so. The genius is something you have, you get it tied to your purpose, and then you figure out your best way to move it forward, which is tied to your values. And so that is like really going back to your story of like, and it's emotional. We if I'm doing this work one on one with people, it's often like, you know painful stuff that comes up, but then you realize that, oh my gosh, I can help people with this. And so this is, it's not always, but it often is like, I did not realize that I had this gift. So it's your genius, your gift, your purpose that's tied to your story, your transformation that you overcame. And then the third part is the path. And it's like, how do you best, because we all probably, there's a lot of people that have the same genius, there's a lot of people that have a similar purpose, and then there's the path of how you best bring this into the world, and that is based on, your how you best work with people, or how you best, how it's kind of like, I call it like your fun flair way of how you specifically do things. And it's often tied to your values are a huge, because you can be a coach that does the same thing, or a business owner, or whatever it is that you do, but one may want, mine is like, I want to have a fun, I want it to be, an adventure, and for me and for them. And it's got to be really creative. It can't be like we're following a formula. I mean, there are formulas, but it's like you got to have your own like spark. So those are my three top values. And then the other thing is, I really am blown away by the Enneagram, bringing that into it, and then uh, your life path, which is based on numerology, which is just incredibly blows me away every time I talk about that with somebody. They're like, "Oh my God, this has me just this way," and so that helps you to figure out how you best will navigate the path. So
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you're working, I mean, not only for yourself, I mean, thinking about what held you back, but how does that correlate with what you find holds other people back from making this big change or big move?
well, that's a tough, so many things. And first, I'm just going to say that I think for so many people, it's financial. It's like,
Right.
how can I make the leap? I mean, I know that this has been my issue. It's like, how can I make the leap to do what I want? Because when you're working a 40+ hour a week job, you're trying to make ends meet. You can't it How do you find the time? And if you add a family and a relationship into that, and trying to take care of your body and mind, like, you have this much time to work on your craft or whatever it is. Like, I know this because this has been my journey for the last 4 years. And so I feel like you have to figure out that piece. There's lots of conversations that we could have around how to do that. Um, Part of them are productivity. Part of them are like, how do you get your fastest path to cash so that you can do that. And then then it's just, so I'm sorry, going back to um, you know ask me the question again. I got off on like there's like two or three things that I was like, okay, I want to do this, and this. So please say the
No, no,
question
it all
again.
makes sense. It's really like when you're looking at what held you back from moving
Yeah.
into this
Yes.
career and then what holds other people back. And I agree that there's a lot of similarities there in the sense that there's, you have a certain level of security and comfort of, and you have commitments that you have,
Right.
for if you're trying to do this as a side hustle. And then that can get
Right.
even more complicated, as you said, when you add family, friends, pets, anything into the
all
mix.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So the other, and so the first thing is that it is a true. It starts with a limiting belief. I believe that I can't do this because of X, Y, Z. The first one I think that really has to be addressed is there is a usually commitments that are financial, because if we could all just do what we wanted, we would have the time and freedom to explore that. But when we follow this certain path that gets us into a job and gets us into debt and all those things, then we have to figure out how we can have the space to make all that work. And I think you can do it. It's going to take you longer. You just kind of have to chip away at it. So the second thing is they all, you can't really separate. So it's a belief, it's a limiting belief that I can't do this because either I'm not good enough, I don't know
right.
how, I don't have the finances, I don't have the space. And really it starts with number one is, well, first of all, finding out what you want to do, and deciding it's so important to you that you're not going to let anything stop you. And then the second thing is like deciding how you can make a little bit of space to do it. And then, I mean, just making the decision it's going to happen and visualizing it, and not trying to figure it all out on your own. 'Cause that's a huge thing. Is like people go, "Well, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to figure this out?" And they try to like dig into every little thing. Like, no, you go hire somebody that already knows how to do it, and that's how you make it happen. So anyway, I think there are a lot of pieces, but it's about belief in yourself and that you deserve it, and that there is something out there that you're. I just look at the universe as like it's all interconnected,
Yes.
and we all stars trying to make it all line up and twinkle, and we all have this thing that's going to make someone else's life better, and it's going to enrich our life.
Yeah. No, I also think there's another element too, is that people think that something has to be perfect, or that if they can't do it really well, that they don't want to make that um, they don't want to take that
Right.
chance or that risk. And yet that's one of the most valuable things is, well, it doesn't have to be perfect,
Get
and
started.
people will forgive you and be actually lean into the fact that you're doing it
Yes.
and learning as you go, and
Yeah, you're going
whatever it
to.
happens to be.
Yeah, I so agree, Lynn. Like, just learning as you go, you inspire so many people. They're like, I mean, even the RV thing, like it's so cool because people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to hook up the sewer hose. I don't know how to do this. I Towing is terrifying to me. I'm planning trips just so that I'll be forced to tow and lean into that fear." And it's so that's just an example, but it's anything that you do is like, yeah, you're not going to learn it. You can't you can't go off and spend a year. It's not like going to college where you just go like, I got to learn all this and I got to get certified and I got to do all this. No, learn one thing, implement it, and share what you're doing. People will love to see your journey, and you're so right. You're so right. It's like um, bold, massive action is the key to. It's just got to jump and expect the wind to catch your wings. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think that really also ties in for, that unique brand vibe, and how that ties in by, letting go of, like perfectionism, that because it's overrated, right? And instead, tapping into that part of who you are and that journey that you're on, because I think that does create a lot of synergy out there, and that people are attracted to that, that you're willing to show your vulnerability, that you're willing
absolutely.
to share with them, what you're going through as you get there. And I'm really curious. I mean, when you look at how you would really stand out for someone that you're working with, and you're getting that, what's that unique brand vibe? What are some of the
Right.
things that you look for to help them identify that?
Yeah. So it really goes back to the genius for me, for the way I work. It goes back to the genius identity code, and it's really about leaning into your identity, how you show up, how you identify. But I think a big component is like really to get the language that you need, the message is really leaning into like naming what it is that you do. Because if you can't name your genius, if you can't name, your purpose and all those things, then how are you going to share that? And once you start combining these different elements, I like to think of what we're all doing is like, because like, you know, there's not there are original ideas, but literally it's really a conglomeration of like things that we've learned and things that we've done and the identities and how we want to put different things together. One of my favorite things is like I'm so amazed at people that have combined like Mexican and Italian food, like these fusion
Yeah.
recipes are people that, oh, I love this flavor and I love this flavor, and I'm going to put these together. So that is really one of the things that I was seeing is everybody's like copying. I'm just going to use a couple of well-known names, and not, and
Yeah.
I totally respect these people. I've studied with them. I love them, but following a formula that might work to get you to a point, but is it going to feel right with you? Is it going to really resonate with people? And so like if you follow exactly what Russell Brunson does, if you follow exactly what Tony Robbins does, are you, yeah, you may have some success. Are you going to have the same level of success that they have? I mean, maybe you don't even want that, that's fine, but what is it? I think it's still going to leave something in you that you're like, I haven't figured out the thing that I want to do. So I really feel like diving in, our stories, um, and how, you know, friends and how people like can help us identify that really hold the key to, our transformation and our impact and all that. So I really think that, really diving into that will really, really helps people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, being with if you're not going to be your authentic self, I mean, that's one of the most important pieces for me is to really lean into, and if that's who I am and I'm cheerful and I laugh and I smile, then that's who I
Right.
am. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna and if people don't like cheerful, happy people, then they probably, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So, if you are going to give a piece of advice to our listeners who are tuning in right now and just loving this conversation the way I am, what would you advise them to do?
Um, so so I really think a couple of things, kind of like guideposts are you, when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel when you first wake up? One of my favorite artists, Salvador Dali, is one of his quotes that I love is like, I'll probably mess this up because I don't have it in front of me, but how do you feel when you first wake up? When I wake up, I feel so excited to look at the day, and it's gonna. I'm totally butchering this, but like I am so excited for what is gonna happen today. That because I'm Salvador Dali, and something incredible is gonna happen. I really feel like that is one of, the best starts that you can do is really to just, question that. And then the other one is like, are you doing what you love? And if you're not, um, again, you can follow that, and everyone is capable of uncovering this and starting, the journey if they're not doing it already, to really figure it out what they love and how they can get to that. One of my favorite quotes, and it so ties into the Genius Identity Code, is by Henry David Thoreau, and it's do what you love, know your own bone, gnaw at it, bury it, unearth it, and gnaw at it still. So it's an ongoing process. You're not going to know, you may not know it But if there's an interest there, keep digging, keep coming back to it, and it's life changing. It will be life changing for you, and it will also impact the. One of my things is like I followed this because my daughter, she's great at what she does, but I don't know that it's her passion. I'm like, if I can just inspire my daughter to go after her dreams, how cool would that be? If I can
Oh,
inspire a sister or a brother or a friend, but what if I could actually inspire 10 people or 1,000 people or 100,000? But it just starts with like maybe one person. Like you just
yeah.
feel you could move them just by doing your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Steph, thank you so much for sharing how your unique brand vibe promises a competitive edge. And I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and where they can find you.
Absolutely. So you can go to geniuscodeacademy.com and you can, book a discovery call there, fill out a form, and just, see if there's something that you need there. You can also watch my video on Amazon. Prime, which will kind of give you a real overview of kind of like how I work with people and how you can really identify your genius identity code, which is unique to you. Or you can we'll drop the link. Lynn will have the link to go to directly to Amazon to find it, and it's season 4, episode 10 of Wake Up Your Genius Machine. So thank you.
Oh, now that's fantastic. And yes, absolutely. All those links are down below. Their stuff is one click away. And this has been such an informative discussion. It's been very inspiring. And for those of you who joined us, thank you so much. We're so glad that you did. And if you have ideas or you'd like to share some thoughts, you can leave us a comment down below. We do love hearing from you. And of course, if you have a very specific question or would like to suggest a topic for discussion, you can email us at jointheconversation@petitetoqueen.com. And to stay current on all of our insightful advice, our breakthrough advantages, incredible episodes like the one today with Steph, you can sign up for our weekly wisdoms newsletter at petitetoqueen.com. And again, thank you everyone who tuned in. And Steph, thank you so much. I'm so glad you came today. This has been a fascinating, wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your space with me. I love the conversation with you.